Hi there, grade 11s. Welcome to the next lesson on uh, cone on measurement. So remember on the previous lesson, we talked about the volume of the cone and the surface area. And this was an easy example where we calculated H and we also find the surface area. So please, if you haven't watched the lesson, I'm going to leave the link in the description. Please make sure that you watch this previous lesson before uh, you continue with this lesson, because now you see whatever that we did now on the previous lesson, I'm going to apply it to answer this exam question. This was an introduction. This is exam question. So they say that the volume of a half cone. So this time you are given a half cone. In the previous lesson, we worked on a cone which looks like this. And now look at the half cone. So you are given the volume and they say its height is 14 centimeter. Find the following: the radius of the cone. So I need you to focus on what you are given. To answer the first question, focus on what you are given, the volume of the cone. What is the volume equals to? We know that the volume of a cone, if we go back up, is just 1 over 3 pi r squared times h. So I'm just going to write it down here. Okay, I'm just going to write it down here. So this is 1 over 3 pi r squared h. That is the volume. So if this is the volume, ladies and gents, and we are given the half, the volume of the half cone, so I'm going to multiply this by half. Okay, because when it's like this, the this given volume is for the half cone. It's not for that full one, but it's for the half cone. Then let's do the substitution and answer this question. Calculate the radius. So to calculate the radius, I'm going to say my volume is given as 650.2. Equate this to half of 1 over 3 pi. Do we know r? Nope. This is what we are looking for. But do we know the height? Yes, the height was given as 14 centimeter. Let me substitute 14. So now the aim is to isolate everything and leave r this side. So I'm just going to multiply. Oh, let's divide both sides by 1 over 2 into 1 over 3 pi. Let's leave the r squared because we are trying to isolate that r squared. Then what you do on the left hand side, you also do on the right hand side. What you do on the right hand side, you also do on the left hand side. Okay, let me just multiply this by pi. And then we have 14. So now we know that these terms will cancel here. This term and that cancels, and then this cancels, that. This side I'm just left with r squared, and then I'm gonna put all this in a calculator. Let's quickly do that and see what we get. So this will be, please make sure that when you put those numbers in your calculator, you don't make any mistakes. So this will be 1 over 2 into 1 over 3. I think I should just say multiply by shift pi, and then let's multiply by 14 and see what is that equals to. So this gives us 88.69 recurring. So we can say 88 point, but just to let me write this down, I'll come back to that. It's 8.69 blah blah. I'm not gonna round off because if I round off, this will affect my final answer. Let's square both sides. The square root of answer, that's 9.42 if you round it off to 2 decimal places. So by squaring both sides, we get r. Therefore, your radius is just 9.42 centimeter. So this is exam type questions, okay? This is exam type question. This is the question that you need to expect in an exam. Remember in class, this is how they teach. In an exam, they'll ask it differently. Okay, I hope you guys are with me on that. Okay, let's answer the second question first. The surface area. So now they are looking for the surface area of the half volume. Grade 11s, I don't want to waste time on this. Uh, the second question, okay? The surface area of a half cone. So there's something that we need to add here, very, very important. So I think it's best if we just work it out of the side. So you know what we're going to do. Remember, let's rewrite this surface area. We said that the surface area of a whole cone, the surface area we said it's that's pi r squared, and this is the circle, then plus the pi rs is for the pi rs is for the curved face. Okay, so now when they're looking for the surface area of the half cone, the new surface area, I mean the surface area of a half cone will be half of that pi r squared plus pi rs. Oh, this looks easy, né? But remember, when you cut a cone, this is how the cone looks like. It looks like this. When you cut a cone uh, into two halves, what are you doing? You are adding the area of a triangle. Let me explain this. We're going to add the area of a triangle, which is half base times height. Let me explain why. Because cutting a cone in half, this creates a new flat surface that wasn't exposed before. So if we go, maybe I can show you the drawing, how the new one looks like. Remember, I have the whole cone, which will look like this. When we cut it into a half, this is what we have. So this is the new triangle. Can you see now? We are create the triangle appears only because the cone has been cut, so it must be included in the total surface area. I hope you guys understand that part. So now we're going to add. So this is where the trick is, because if you forget to add the area of the triangle, then everything is wrong. So to find the surface area, I'll just have to substitute on this formula. That will be pi. And then what is my r? We just calculated r as 9.42. So this will be 9.42. Okay. 9.42. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a 5 marks question. It's 5 marks. So plus, then pi, what's r? We said r it's 9.42. 9.42. And then we have s, which is unknown. I'll come back to that part. And then plus 1 over 2b h. I just want to rewrite this thing properly. So now what I'm going to do, I know that we are missing something here, which is s, the slant height. This is what we are missing here. You know what I'm going to do? We need to find the slant height. So the slant height is this guy here. This will be your slant height. So let me quickly indicate that. This will be your slant height here. So this is your slant height. So I'm just going to divide this into two parts. This is your h and this is your r. We just calculated r to be 9.42. 9.42. Okay. So now when you look at this, we can definitely use theorem of Pythagoras to do what? We can definitely use theorem of Pythagoras to find s, because we know the height is 14. So I'm just gonna rewrite everything down, then we'll use theorem of Pythagoras to find this. The height, it's 14 centimeter. We have the radius. So the theorem of Pythagoras, it's s squared, it's equals to r squared plus that h squared. So this will be your r, which is 9.42 squared. We're going to add the h, which was given as 14 squared. Then this will be s squared. You solve this, you punch that on the calculator and see what you get. So let me quickly put this on the calculator and see. So this will be 9.4, 9.42 squared. We're adding 14 squared. This is equal to 284. I'm just going to save time and say the square root of answer because we know that we're going to square both sides. So this is 16.87. Okay, so S is just 16.87 centimeter. That's my L. So yes, not my S. Ne? Okay, so now I'm going to substitute that where there's S, and then let's do that. I just want to rewrite everything down here just for space. So I just want to put everything down here so that we can have a space. So this will be the surface area. We already started substituting. This will be pi. We know where the 9.42 is coming from. Pi, we know where the 9.42 is coming from. We just calculated that as 16.87 and then close the bracket. Right. So we're going to add the area of a triangle. So area of a triangle is base times height. Another thing that you need to pay attention of. Please do not say the base is R, but this whole line here, it's your base of this triangle, and the height is 14. So base, it will be R times 2. So the base, so our base will be that 9.42 times 2. This is another uh, uh, something that you need to pay attention on. So the base, it will be 9.42 times 2 because that's the base. Okay, so now it will be, if we multiply that by 2, I'm not sure what we're going to get, but let's quickly consult the calculator because already we have it on the calculator. Just multiply answer by 2. That is what happened. No, that was supposed to be 9.42 times 2. This gives us 18.84. Okay, so this will be the base of 18.84. And then this is multiplied by that 40. Then you need to punch everything. Then you're going to get the surface area of a half cone. This is something that you should expect in an exam. Let me quickly punch everything that you see here on the screen. Just going to put it on the calculator and see what we get. And that's it for this lesson. Half of pi, it is multiplied by 9.42. Everything squared. We're going to add pi, which is multiplied by 9.42 again, and then this is multiplied by 16.87. Close the bracket. I think that's where we close the whole bracket. Okay, let's put the other part. Plus half of half of 18.84 into 14. I'm not sure if, because if you miss something on your calculator, so the final answer is 520.89 centimeter cube if we round it off. Okay, so it will be centimeter cube, 520.89 centimeter cube. And that's it for this one. Please make sure that you understand how to calculate the radius of the cone if the volume, if you are given the volume of the half cone, and also the surface area of the half cone. Okay, and that's it for this lesson. If you enjoyed the lesson, if you understand the lesson, make sure that you help the channel grow. Leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, join the family, and we'll make sure that you feel at home. Thank you very much for watching.